Redditors who have given their so's another chance after getting cheated on. How's your relationship now? Over. I really did forgive her, but she had so much internal guilt over it she couldn't be happy around me. She hated herself. So after 4 months of that, she just moved out one day. The whole idea of that relationship was a minfuck. How do you feel about her now? My so got cheated on early in her college life. She said it was easier to forgive than one would think. She caught him again later and it was done with. The weird part is that it's been like 8 years and he still has a thing for her and thinks of me as the guy with his ex. Which, I am. But it's weird to be upset that someone is dating your ex who broke up with you 8 years ago for cheating. Over. We were freaking miserable for another 3 months then it ended. We're now sort of friends when we can be bothered. He tried to cheat on me with his ex, but she turned him down. I found out when I found texts from her basically telling him he needed to sort himself out and stop dicking me around. I never met his ex, but if there's some sort of general sisterhood solidarity type award, she freaking deserves it. You should meet her. She seems like a great person. My girlfriend since high school. We were in college at the time. Made out with a guy in Mexico. The next day she called me long distance crying and told me everything. She got drunk. They were dancing at a club and she made a stupid mistake. At the time, we broke up. I was so angry I just broke up with her on the spot. I was in a parking lot in Nashville with a long distance calling card breaking up with my girlfriend. It took a little bit for me to realize, strangely, what an awesome person she was for confessing. I later learned that all of her friends there tried to talk her out of calling me and confessing, but she called me anyway. We had been dating for 3 years at the time so it hurt. After college I moved to Chile for 4 years. We kept in touch. I moved back to the US because I had a shot at getting back together with her. We've been married for over a year now and have a 8-month-old daughter. She's the best thing that has ever happened to me. Holy crap, did I wish this would have a happy ending. Did not disappoint. 5/5. She cheated on me 2 more times and left me. Had another failed marriage after me and, according to mutual friends, is now married to the guy I caught her cheating with about 20 years ago. Cheated on me again. Lied to me about why she wanted a divorce. Left me for some older washed up dude at her work. Needless to say I found myself in a much better position and feel like I woke up from a crazy frickin' dream all these years. She's also a Redditor. If you're reading this, Mel, I hope you pee a kidney stone. Ho ho ho, 5 kidney stones for Mel this Christmas. She cheated on me with one of my best friends. I actually figured it out rather quickly. I gave her a second chance, even paid for couples counseling and tried to open up the lines of communication. In the end, though, turns out that she never stopped seeing him, and I broke things off after she tried to convince me that it was a polyamorous relationship and I was being polyphobic. She still sees nothing wrong with what she did and I haven't talked to her since. We were together for 2 years. It was a polyamorous relationship and I was being polyphobic. How shameless do you have to be to say crap like that? She promised me she won't talk to him anymore, then breaks up with me saying she's not happy and just wants a break. Then removes me from FB. I guess so I wouldn't see her picture posted the next day with the same guy at a football game. This was last week. Her Instagram says the date when they started, which was 5 days before we broke up. So it's not good. Edit. Thanks for the kind words, strangers. I am pushing through. Slowly, but still pushing. Man, that's a reflection on her and not you. She needs the security of another relationship before she ends one. Not on you at all. Stay strong, my brother. In jail, I told her I couldn't do it again cause I just couldn't forget how much she hurt me the first time. She got caught a month later trying to deal pills during the youth service at a local church. Turns out nobody bought from her and it was the kids that called the cops. Good job, kids. Stay out of drugs. Divorced. Never should have tried to salvage it. Still bitter. Hope something terrible happens to her like she steps on a Lego or something. Non-existent. For the best. I forgave him after I found out about the first time he cheated on me. He was drunk at a New Year's party, and he told me he kissed another girl. So I went, oh okay, it's not a big deal. You just kissed a girl at midnight. Whatever. From then on I always had a suspicion that he was cheating on me with other people, but just didn't have the proof. So I tried to convince myself, oh, it's just from that stupid incident that happened years ago. Then cut to 3 years later I find out about the 30 other women he cheated on me with, all different degrees. I was unwittingly one of the mistresses once. I found out and notified the fiance. Frick that crap bag of a human for playing the fiance, me and the legion of other women like that. Dead. I wanted to work it out, but I just never got it right in my mind, and turned into a jealous douche. It was awful, and she left. Thank God, because I was just stupid back then. No regrets because I am in a good place now, but I would never do that again. It never goes away. I thought that you were referring to her at first. I am no longer with her, but I did try to give her another chance. It just doesn't work. Once that initial trust has been broken, it's impossible to keep your mind from wandering and thinking she's out sucking some other dude's dong whenever you haven't heard from her in a while. Thinking she's out sucking some other dude's dong whenever you haven't heard from her in a while. This is definitely a thing. The image just sears into your consciousness, and you can't stop. He took a year off drinking and is now able to have a night where he has a couple drinks and it doesn't escalate to getting blackout drunk, like he was when he did shady crap. He worked his butt off to be a better person in general. It wasn't just for me, it was for him and his future, which I think made the biggest difference. We worked intensely on our communication. I grew up very emotionally closed and we didn't communicate well at all as a result. 6 years later we are 1000 times happier than we were before he cheated. It brought us closer. That being said, I was typically the one to say cheating is a 100% deal breaker. I understand my experience is unique to this situation and not everyone has such results. Whoa, this one strikes a chord. My otherwise awesome, supportive boyfriend got too drunk and had a one-night stand. He eventually confessed and he's given up drinking for just about a year now. Things have been better since even before he cheated. You give me continued hope that people can change when you both want to. Thanks. Our relationship is great now. It's been over 4 years since the cheating, and what I think really made it work was me getting my own apartment in a crappy unit and him seeing it when about half my stuff was moved in. It really hit him hard that this was where we were. He said he absolutely did not want his GF and son living in an apartment. He wanted better for us and vowed to change 100%, and he did. Overall we have been together 13 years and have been engaged for the past few years. No big rush on getting married, we are just happy with the way things are now. I trust him 100% and he trusts me as well. I let him go out lots where my friends can't understand that. I tell them that if he wants to cheat he will find a way, and I trust that he won't. I'm not into leashing anyone. If they want to risk it, they know the consequences. But yes, have come a long way. I've forgiven, but I've never forgotten. Things are much better now, but we had to pull our crap together in the face of something much bigger than our marriage, taking sudden custody of my stepson. It's taken a long time, but the trust has been rebuilt. Still, there is a small part of me that will never get over it, which I have been open about with him. Been around 7 years and it is still really hard for me to trust her despite everything being great for 7 years. Doesn't help that she had lied and cheated on numerous occasions, and I would imagine that is only what I found out about. I don't know if I will ever be able to get her a ring. If I could go back, I wouldn't give her a second chance. This is a throwaway, so I won't be logging back in for replies. You know, it's not too late to call it quits. You sound a little miserable. There's still time to find someone else. I found out my husband cheated, and then admitted I had also. I wanted a divorce. He didn't. So I agreed to go to counseling, but also went and met with a divorce attorney. I don't know if it was the greatest or worst divorce attorney, but she spoke so hatefully of my husband that it angered me. And it was then I realized I still loved him. I started putting some effort into the counseling, and both of our walls came down. It was hard, but it's been 7 years and we've had 2 kids in the past 18 months. And we have the best marriage out of anyone I know. We're the people other people want their marriage to be like. I trust him completely. We cheated because our relationship was crappy and we weren't putting any effort into it. Now, it's wonderful and I wouldn't do a thing to screw it up. Classic couple therapist trick to dress up like divorce attorney. He told me October 2014 that he had cheated on me around November 2011 with a mutual friend. We had been together a year at that point. They were too drunk to have sex but they wanted to and they shit-talked me the entire time. He told me all that. I said I would try to work through it. Things were relatively good at that point. Couldn't get over that. Along with many other things. There were a lot of cool things about this guy but as a boyfriend he was just terrible. I broke up with him at the end of the summer, citing many other reasons that I had already tried to address, and the cheating. We tried to stay friends. When I told him I had started seeing somebody, my now BF of like 2 weeks woohoo, like 3 months after we broke up, he said he resented me and said all of my reasons were bulls. The cheating in particular because I was totally flip-flopping about the cheating thing. You were okay with it before, and now you're not bulls. You just said that to make yourself not feel bad about breaking up with me and then he said he needed to stop talking to me for a while. Yeah, sorry, I tried to deal with it but I realized I really don't have to deal with it, and I don't owe you that effort. We're not friends now. That reaction, and looking back now at everything else in our relationship, made me realize he was not the best person to me through those 5 years. He was not as respectful as he, or even I, thought, and while I'm sure he cared about me, looking back he did a lot of crappy things, and he'd even say stuff like I don't know why I am not crazier about you, which he then pretended to have not said. Full stop. Lesson. Don't stick with someone who's not great to you. Don't settle. You can totally do better, even if it's by staying single. I was the happiest I'd been in years within a week of breaking up. I got suspicious after I caught him going through my phone, so a few weeks later I went through his and discovered that he had. I always told myself I would never stay with someone who did that, but we had been together for so long and I loved him so much I thought I could get past it. Every time he would stay out late or be ambiguities with where he was or who he was with I felt suspicious. Every time we would go to the bar and someone would flirt with him I would feel resentful and jealous. I think the worst part about it was knowing that he had been able to lie to me for so long, have sex, tell me he loved me, and looking back knowing that he knew what he had done and still kept that inside him made me realize deep down that I could never trust him again. We continued dating, hating each other for a few months and eventually he dumped me. It's all really for the best because he never really cared about our relationship as much as I did, in my opinion. And I wasn't strong enough to end what should have ended the moment I found out that his dong was more in control of his actions than his head. I always say it isn't the sex that destroys you, it's the lies, and they start long before the sex. Usually, I felt like I was living with an alien who took over the body of someone I loved. He and I were very sexually active and in all sorts of freak ways. He just wanted the validation of being able to put his dong in someone new. It's rough. I try my best to trust him but it's hard. I don't have much confidence in myself anymore because he cheated. No matter how much he says I am his girl, I can't help think that he'll up and leave. I feel dead inside. I have trust issues. It sucks. I don't get how people can try again, but good for those who made it work. I couldn't even be friends with my ex that cheated on me. She asked me if we could, but I told her, no, a friend is someone I know I can trust and I just can't trust you anymore. Nonexistent. I ended up breaking up with him several months later for narcissistic tendencies, anger issues, and inability to communicate. I wish I had dumped him the second I found out he cheated, would have saved me a lot of heartache. And after we broke up he blew up my phone, called my parents, and showed up on my property unannounced. I had to change my phone number and my dad gave him money to leave us alone. Toxic. We were engaged when he cheated. We are not now. He's manipulative and has control over everything I do. For example, if I don't text him back immediately he assumes I'm somewhere I shouldn't be. If my phone goes off and I'm with him, he asks who it was and what they said. If I try to reason with him for the sake of my privacy he turns it into me hiding things. He's scared I will cheat on him to get back at him for cheating on me. He won't take initiative to be a better person and treat me better, but also refuses to see me with someone who will. It's a roller coaster every day and I've tried so hard to move past what he did and make something work, but I can feel myself slipping away. I just want to be myself again. I want to be able to give myself to someone the way I did for him, but for the right person. Someone who will respect me and cherish it. Sometimes life just sucks. It gets better, right? Right. We both cheated while he was doing a study abroad. We both confessed when he got home. We were both hurt, but not as mad as we would have expected. We started discussing non-monogamy and 8 years later are polyamorous. He studied abroad, now you're both studying abroad at home. The first time was online stuff, pictures talking. I forgave him. Second time was real, sleeping with another person, an insane person at that, who faked a pregnancy and still tries to contact him. Our relationship never fully recovered. I love him. But do I trust him? Not really. Even when things are amazing, it is always there. I will always know that he broke my heart, that he hurt me more than I could have ever imagined, that he broke my trust. It never goes away, and sometimes the worry creeps back up, sometimes the anger. It is hard not to throw it in his face. It is hard to forgive him. IDK. It feels to me like you broke a glass and even if you glue all the pieces back together, it will never look the same. There are still cracks and it is never going to be as strong as it once was. I'll be the exception to the rule and say, it's really good. The trust is back. Didn't expect that to ever truly happen. We're closer than we've ever been. And our relationship and love grows every day. It really sucked. It did. But we loved each other, recognized the mistake, and wanted to try. So we did. And it worked out. We're loving and supportive. We're not jealous or suspicious. I don't worry that she's cheating or anything of the sort. The biggest remaining negative of it is simply the stigma of a relationship in which cheating happened. If someone knows, they tend to judge the relationship for it. I can't really blame them. But it sucks because they don't know our story. Their judgment is misplaced in this case. That alone can cause damage to the relationship if someone decides they know better and try to force their views. Fortunately, I don't keep people who can't respect me, my decisions, or my relationship in my life. TLDR. Really good. Definitely the exception, not the rule, but I don't ever regret sticking through it. Staying through being cheated on is probably the dumbest decision I've ever made, as far as statistics would tell you. It's also the best decision I ever made. Feel free to ask questions. I know made it through cheating, in a long-term and happy relationship now, and willing to talk about it isn't super common. Might have slow responses due to being a throwaway and post-time rit. She cheated again and contracted HIV. I got tested several times over the last 7 years and I'm HIV free. Just got married to an amazing woman 1 month ago yesterday, and the ex is miserable. We got legally married shortly after the incident, and more than 2 years later we still are. So, pretty good. It's not always perfect, and I'll admit that at times I want to bring it up to win arguments, but I don't because we agreed to move past it completely. That's really amazing of you. I don't know your full story, but if you agree to move past it, you can't drag it up when it's convenient, which can be difficult. I'm glad that your marriage is going well and it's mended or on the mend, though. She cried, said she was sorry, she promised never to do it again. Well, that lasted 2 more years. My ex. It took me years of therapy to get through that. I finally figured it out. It wasn't me, it was her. She cheated on me. She cheated on the guy before me, and she cheated on the guy before him. She also cheated on the guy after me. It's not about not being cut out for monogamy. She will totally agree to monogamy, and then lie and scam to get away with cheating. A complete piece of crap as a human being. Ruined my life. Ruined our kid's life. Ruined her own life. Made everyone in both of our families very unhappy for a while. Not even for a lay, just to stroke her broken freaking ego. Am I over it? Yep. Doesn't mean I am not going to carry bitter memories for the rest of my life. I mean, who the frick does this crap? Doesn't their conscience bother them? No shred of common human decency? Divorced. She cheated super early on in our relationship. Still dating. before engagement marriage. She admitted it later on and we got through it. She never cheated again, but her reason for cheating was ultimately what ended our marriage. In the end we just weren't compatible. She needed more from me than I was able to give. There was no fault in the divorce, just that we weren't the right ones for each other. This couldn't be more relevant to me right now. 2 years ago he slept with someone else. I gave him another chance. He worked on himself, made a lot of positive changes. The past 2 years have been blissfully comfortable and loving. Found out on Sunday that his friend in California is actually a woman he's been in love with for a long time, and he left me for her on Sunday. Let's also add that he only met her in person for the first time a week ago. They're internet friends. Full stop. Anyway, the moral of the story is some people never change. Up until Sunday I would have sworn up and down that it could happen, that forgiveness could end in a happy, lifelong relationship. Now I have my doubts. It's good now, it's happy and we love each other and have a lot of fun. But I've never stopped second guessing our future, and I still think about the girl he cheated on me with nearly every week, with an unresolved jealousy and a massive inferiority complex. Got back together after a year off. We'd been together about 10 years already, stayed together for 10 more years and had 3 kids. Getting divorced now but for unrelated reasons. I'm glad we reconciled. My wife cheated on me. Bottom line was that forgiveness was easier than starting over. Had 1 child at the time, refused to break his home. More importantly though was that she regretted it, eliminated the dirtbag from her life, and vowed to make it right. It won't ever be the same again, but that's okay. We're happier than ever. Another baby on the way. More details in my post history. I don't use this account much. Done. Gave him another chance after I discovered his affair. I was 10 weeks away from giving birth to our first child. We worked it out, which means he refused to go to counseling and belligerently reminded me it was all in the past anytime I tried to talk through the underlying issues. We had a second kid a few years later. He turned out to be special needs, and my husband started another affair not long after that diagnosis. I caught onto this one a lot faster and we lived in the same house for 2 more years due to financial constraints. It hasn't been easy since he left, but oh goddamn has my life been better. I never realized how much I hated being the person I had to be with him. Tried to forgive her, swallowed the hurt and the marriage limped on for a few more years. Her FWB shot himself dead in his bathtub the day my daughter was born. Ex ended up smashing my daughter's head into drywall 4 days short of her 4th birthday. That was the deal breaker, though her infidelity should have been. Still regularly beat myself up over giving her another chance. Dang man, that's rough. My daughter is 4 and if anyone were to touch her I'd rip their heart out with a dull pair of tongs. Actually, really well. He had been sexting another girl, and met up with her once. It destroyed us for a while, and I still get twinges of distrust. But, he has proven over and over that it was a one-time thing. Spurred on by our mutual depression and stressful relationship. He makes sure I am always comfortable with what is going on. If I get kinda suspicious, he will show me his phone anytime. I don't ask to, or even accept his offer to look anymore. We love each other very much, and I would say our relationship is very healthy. If anything, it helped us. We both learned to work on ourselves. We communicate better. We give each other 100%. First time she cheated on me and I caught her. She cried and begged and I didn't break up with her. Took a while to trust her again. Moved to Korea together from South Africa. Lived here for 2 years. She went to visit her sister who was also in Korea and I had to stay behind and work. Months later I get home and she is on the bed crying saying she can't lie anymore. She cheated on me while she was visiting her sister. She feels terrible. Please forgive her. I do. We finish working in Korea. She wants to travel Central and South America before moving back to South Africa to study some more. We spend a year backpacking from northern Mexico to the southern tip of South America. We get back to South Africa. I struggle to find work because there is no work in South Africa. I freelance as an environmental impact assessment contractor. Work is not steady. I end up having to go to very remote parts of the country to try to keep making some money in between the periods of no work. I get back from the middle of nowhere. I walk into the door. She says we need to talk. She asks me to leave and go to my parents. I am shattered. We were meant to be forever. I go to my folks. We break up officially about a week later. I spent 6 months living with my parents in a terrible state of depression. I guest lecture at universities but am drinking a lot and don't care. I decide to move back to Korea. Dad and mum agree that it is a good idea. I move back. I still speak with her a bit. She then says we shouldn't be friends on Facebook and we need to take time not talking to each other. I agree. She emails me a few months later, says she feels guilty and doesn't want to lie anymore. She had been dating one of my best friends since I basically walked out the door to go home to my folks. I say all I ever wanted was for you to be happy, and if it couldn't be with me, I hope you can be with him. Never speak to her again. I've been back in Korea for 3 years now. Got married just over 6 months ago. I am so thankful for the 6 months I got to spend with my mum and dad. My dad died 3 months ago and my mum said that those 6 months really made my dad happy to know me as a grown man and not a boy anymore. She tries to contact me. She and my best friend have broken up. I never reply. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.